this matchup all year, and now it has finally arrived. Disguised versus LG, and already into the draft. Eric, the most important thing that we want to point out, we talked about it before the show, is the so-called Elite Four.
The Elite Four of the jungle, yeah.
Wukong, Jarvan, Vi, Xin Zhao. Not only are they some of the strongest junglers on the patch, they're also big picks for both of these players, and already 2 of them have been removed.
I mean, you can never take away from some of the pocket picks that these players do have if we don't see those champions coming through. Maokai has always been a very big one for Tomio. I know eXyu is capable of some of those other fighters, some of those other tanks, and even when Rafa gets the most excited, there's a Nidalee in the pocket that we can potentially see. But first pick going to come out on the side of DSG is going to be Viktor for Darkwings.
Yeah, and this is just massive comfort for Darkwings. I like this pick a lot. He's so good on the control mages. But something we haven't talked about is how Insanity is going to function in a best of 5 Fearless series, because this guy is notorious for pulling out weird stuff, and I'm always worried about a blind pick against Insanity, because he is the kind of player that can punish even the safest looking blinds like Viktor.
And Luminosity gonna grab the Ambessa as we do take a look at the player cams. Always a lot of fun to have that. It's FakeGod and Tactical who are present together. I believe still in the Shopify arena, so to say. I believe that's the proper name for it. Someone can correct me. Which does make it interesting because I know DSG are over in that area as well. So a little bit competitive to that regard, having your enemies be so close. Next lock-in is going to be the J4 over on Luminosity. So instant retort for DSG as they grab Xin Zhao.
And so we already see all 4 of the Elite Four make their appearance immediately in the series. 2 of them banned, 2 of them picked. I will say, I consider Jarvan to be the stronger of the 2 between that and Xin Zhao. So I am a bit surprised that DSG prioritizes this safe blind for Darkwings so heavily that they would give this big playmaker over to Tomio. However, it does still allow them to get a strong champion in their own right. It's going to be another tank for Castle, the 4th game in a row. So this is exactly what we talked about. How can FakeGod, on this more carry-oriented pick, make his presence felt in this series? And talking about making their presence felt and explosive counter picks, that is exactly what I like to see out of Insanity.
Insanity was pretty spot on when he played the Akali last series. That was against SDM. And despite having one of the roughest lanes, it was because Mataz kept focusing him. It was on a Xin Zhao that Mataz did it, so we might see a repeat of that that type of angle to come through. That being said, though, that still didn't stop Insanity from getting picks on the back line, doing stuff to distract the team, disorient them, and then eventually assassinate one of your 2 carries. It's very capable at this champion as we go into the second round of bans.
And I like the respect ban towards Huhi's Thresh. He played a pretty damn good game of Thresh yesterday alongside Rahel's Aphelios. Now, concerns for LG, though, are that they have a very short range composition lacking wave clear. And with how explosive I'm expecting these fights to be, LG really wants to find themselves a marksman that can get push on mid-game mid-waves. I'm looking at something like Lucian or maybe a Sivir or a Jinx that can neutralize those waves and help LG wrestle for control over the river, because DSG has a lot of tools to control space. And on the other side of the coin, what they need is something that's not immobile. A lot of dive already locked in for LG so far. The Zeris of the world coming to mind for me so far.
I do like the bans coming out from the side of DSG. Going after that Kai'Sa is a smart move. You have so much dive already drafted by Luminosity Gaming, the Ambessa, the J4, the Akali. They all do a very similar thing. You want to take away some of that dive potential that can come from that bot lane role as well. So the Kai'Sa ban makes a lot of sense, as well as the Ezreal ban can follow through. Now, next pick coming out for Luminosity. They're looking at Corki. It will give them a layer of mobility right here to both either go in or out.
Yeah, this pick definitely makes the most sense to me. I don't see you going any other direction. It's the most mid-game oriented AD carry that is both self-sufficient and it fits that build that I asked for, which is it's something that can play aggressively on those mid waves and just try to wrestle for control to help the divers play off of vision and find different angles.
Yeah, and the scaling. People keep forgetting how much Corki really does scale. I think back to that one near airport game where Doublelift was playing it and they lost all their inhibitors, they lost their Nexus towers. And they still won because Corki was never challenged. We kind of got something similar last time LG played against SDM. So Corki, definitely a big pick here, brings a lot of damage to the profile of Luminosity.
Are you saying that Tactical has the chance to replace Double Lift again on the late game Corki?
Oh, man, come on. The man's not even playing anymore. We don't got to shoot any more shots at him.
I just got to poke fun where I can. But we do get a Zeri for DSG. This is exactly the kind of pick I was looking for. Just something that can be self-sufficient and try to outplay the incredible amounts of dive coming through. As far as supports, though, I'm expecting just tank engaged supports to get traded back and forth. We have literally everything available, save for that Thresh. I think something like a Nautilus here for Zeyzal makes a lot of sense. Rel, another one that I could see coming out. Just anything that can really get the party started and hold down an individual target for these divers to hit.
So there's a bit of a duo when it comes to diving forward for DSG. So how do you stop a lot of that forward dive? Poppy is an angle to take. Once you put up the steadfast presence, it means that that audacious charge, stuff like that can be blocked. But if you don't have the steadfast presence, Alistar's the next best one because he still provides basically a pseudo tank role where you can pop that ultimate, as well as peeling off some of these divers that are going to be jumping onto tactical.
At a moment where I briefly remembered that Zeyzal's a Taric enjoyer and thought that could be a pick, but that's neither here nor there, as I think this Alistar makes a ton of sense. Honestly, similarly to the Poppy, it does a pretty good job of fitting both an engage or a disengage role depending on the needs of the fight. And Alistar functions incredibly well as follow-up CC. Once Jarvan goes in, traps a bunch of people in the Cataclysm, the Alistar can come and find the follow-up knockups to just blow up all the targets. And I think it makes a lot of sense in the style of composition. It's got good agency to keep the Xin Zhao and the Rakan off of this Corki. And it also just functions in a self-sufficient way in its own right. The biggest thing for me is that DSG has a rock-solid front-to-back teamfight composition. They've got stalwart frontline, two incredibly highly scaling carries, but for LG, it's all about the mid game. They need to generate leads on the bottom side of the map for their mid laner, for their bot lane, and they need to not lose too much control over the map. Because if you're trying to fight your way through this front line on vision with the composition that Luminosity has constructed, this game gets very difficult.
But what happens when you're trying to challenge using a front-to-back comp when their comp isn't even really front-to-back? They just dive past, and now it's like back to front. They're just chasing down all your carries, man. Could make it pretty interesting. But now we are ready for our first match of what could potentially be our finals here in the 2026 LTA North Promotion Tournament. DSG versus Luminosity. It starts right now.
Let's not forget the sigh of relief that one of these teams will get to breathe, to know that all they have to do is wait for the lower bracket to play out to find their opponents, not needing to scrap with their backs against the wall. And no early shenanigans for this one. I'm really just looking at bottom side of the map. Who has that bot side river control?
A good amount of my attention will be on eXyu. I had brought it up before. Actually, got to hold that thought for a little bit. Zeyzal looking to come in. Just trying to get some more information. Isn't really looking for the challenge. It's kind of tricky to invade and like actually go hard on an Alistar, because the moment you blow your crowd control, there's nothing really much that can follow. Interesting scenario here as we do get set up. It will be a lane swap coming in for DSG as a send castle to the bot side.
Yeah, I mean, this makes a lot of sense. The Corki just going to be a stronger laner than the Zeri early on, and if DSG are the ones with the scaling, more team fight oriented composition, getting gold reliably and experience onto one of those big carries, it's gonna matter a lot. I think something that's underrated in these lane swaps is it does effectively make your ADC tankier as well with the small EXP advantage they're able to get. Being up just a level or two, I think goes a long way in terms of not getting blown up by one of these divers.
I know it's going to be a decent position to take off of, well, you want to stop FakeGod. You want to slow him down on this Ambessa. So when this Ambessa's diving your backline, it's not the biggest deal. It's not going to be that burst of damage, that terrifying Ambessa that we've seen in many games before. So Rahel happy to take that matchup over there. It also buys Castle some time to get some minions of his own, have some backup alongside Huhi.
And Darkwings doing a really nice job getting heavy trading down onto Insanity early in this lane. That's what you want to see out of your Viktor. Obviously, the Akali going to get a lot of kill threat in this lane after level 6s come through, but you want to make it as hard as possible for this guy to get to that point. And for Darkwings, your most important mission is to not lose Flash. As long as you still have that Summoner spell, you can always outplay the first gank, the first all-in, and keep up the push, keep up the control for your team. As soon as that Summoner spell goes down, it gets that much harder. So I like this kind of move from Huhi, just making sure his mid laner is secure to continue playing the lane the way he wants.
Level 2 Alistar, you'll have that headbutt pulverized, so trying to match that is Huhi, making sure he'll be there right place on Insanity. Looking for a bit of poke. Darkwings getting the better of a lot of these exchanges. Still, there's a lot of that wave for Insanity to catch up the CS difference right now. It's something we had mentioned about how Darkwings has usually been able to rise to the occasion against the level of talent he's going against. It's another surprise to see that he was able to make it into Tier 1, but it's not a wasted opportunity for him whatsoever. I still remember that split that he had on Conviction, where Conviction just exponentiated throughout the entirety of the league, even eliminating near Airport. Really got a lot of eyes on him, so he's taking advantage of it, and he's doing a great job at it.
I mean, I know Darkwings was not the first choice for a lot of people to get promoted in the LTA, and I mean, understandably so. There's a lot of great mid laners in our pipeline, in Insanity being one of them, obviously. Wanted to stay with his boys on LG, but I think for Darkwings, anyone that thinks he didn't deserve the shot was simply not watching the games that he had played over the last couple of years. This guy has grown so much as a player, and you said it, he really does rise to the occasion that he is given. And I think that's the thing that I've always respected the most about him as a player, is his ability to, no matter what nameplate is on the other side, play his game. And you know what, Eric? It's just a damn solid game.
And it does make for an exciting matchup. I mean, Insanity has someone who's been in the space for quite a long time now. You know, I remember him back from the 2019 Team Liquid Academy days. That's where I first started casting Academy and got involved in the space. And you know, getting to see him in person, the mindset that he had, it wasn't the best team, but he was always willing to grow all the way up to the Dignitas Challengers days, where he was able to make it into that finals on a season where Dignitas wasn't even doing that well. It was some pretty great stuff to see. So we got a lot of development from both of these mid laners, and that's why it's definitely a lane I'm excited about as this continues on. But you did mention that the focus is going to be towards this bot side, and so far, rather neutral bot side in this game.
Tomio, though, is going to use his bot side push to maybe start up a dragon. Maybe not. Okay, no action is allowed to hit Summoner's Rift before level 6, it seems, which is not entirely surprising. I think both these teams really do like having their ultimates. I'm expecting an 8-minute grub fight to be perhaps where we do see the early action. Something I do want to point out as we start to approach ideas of early skirmishes is the amount of river control that Luminosity has. It is exclusively red wards in the river at this 6-minute juncture, and that is one of the big keys to success that we highlighted coming into this game for LG.
It's kind of interesting. Tomio is playing it a little bit safer than he has in the previous series. He was hopping onto the dragons off of spawn, and this time he feels much more pressure coming out from DSG, where he can't pull off the same shenanigans he was against SDM.
Well, looks like that first little scuffle is going to result in a cheeky little scuttle crab for eXyu, so hey, that feels pretty good. All right, are we getting another fake dragon start to clear out a control ward, or is this one real, eXyu? It looks like this one might be real. Just like that, it's all blue wards at that bottom side river, and Insanity doesn't have first move.
Public execution going to be popped over in the top. Castle's able to buffer on out of it. Does allow FakeGod to create some distance as well. He wants to catch that minion wave coming forward. But we got to keep our eyes over on the Dragon Pit. It's still getting leashed, still getting pulled. 1.8k remains. Tomio's in the area, but he doesn't spot it out quite yet. Insanity's going to see this, and Tomio waiting to flag and drag in to try for a chance to steal it. Flashes forward, doesn't get it, but first blood will be secured over by Tactical. Now Zeyzal playing a lot of defense right here, bringing in that crowd control, but eXyu will still find Insanity nonetheless. Tactical goes down. It's a double kill for eXyu and a double kill for Tactical. It's getting bloody early, Hawk.
DSG, they pick up the dragon, but I will say gold allocation favoring LG. We talked about the importance of these AD carries, and Tactical critically able to pick up that second kill on Rahel before he goes down.
A crazy exchange off of that last bit. Huhi gonna use that spell book to grab teleport, get over towards that top side. And very unfortunate for Tomio. You might like the gold allocation for LG, but the neutral objective still went the way of DSG.
Yeah, and that one's going to feel really good for them. I think at the end of the day, both teams pretty okay with how this one went. The big difference maker was that eXyu hit level 6 off of the Dragon Secure. Tomio was level 5. You'd have to think if that smite goes the other way, it becomes a lot worse for DSG, as the fight already was close, with that ultimate difference is now Grub's the focus. No Crescent Guard on eXyu. Tomio does have that ult advantage given the delayed level 6, but he doesn't have the health bar.
Yeah, that's too risky to go for. And Tomio, you can try it, but it's a Xin Zhao you're going against. Xin Zhao will happily take that duel against the J4. So Tomio going to concede that and give up 2 grubs right back over to DSG, despite being the one to start it up.
We have a very even game through 9 minutes in this first one, as DSG and LG just matching each other at every turn. Really, the only differences between these two teams being the CS in the solo lanes. Darkwings, we praised him for his early laning against Insanity so far, but FakeGod does look like he's starting to get the better of Castle in this 1v1, which, again, is something I really want to see from this player, and I think a great start to the series for the top laner of LG.
We highlighted eXyu. I think a lot of that highlight was deserved. His gameplay against Astral was phenomenal. He had great neutral objective control, and that neutral objective control continues into this match right here. First straight 2 grubs, being at the right place, right time, even getting Tomio's flash out on the dragon control. So far, so good for Lawrence eXyu Shu.
Here's the other sneaky thing from that dragon fight is obviously both mid laners roaming down, Insanity participating in both the kills for LG. Darkwings, no KP, which means none of those big Viktor dollars coming through, which can be pretty notable as far as Viktor scaling up and getting those abilities online faster. I mean, that's potentially half an entire evolution that's just not really going to be had. So I think LG pretty lucky that Darkwings was just a bit late to the engagement.
Another thing to mention, Darkwings will be going a scaling build, going over for that Rod of Ages. It's not going to be that accelerated yet, but still needs a little bit more gold before he's able to finish off that item and get the stacks coming in. And when you do go that scaling build, sure, you're playing for the long con, but it does leave you a little bit vulnerable towards these early stages.
Yeah, I mean, it is just going to make Luminosity that much stronger in the mid stages of the game, but I mean, you're already playing a scale if you're DSG, and with this game going so evenly, I think this makes a lot of sense, especially against the amount of dive that LG brings to the table. That tankiness cannot be understated, and I will say, for Darkwings, I was a bit critical in the series against Astral. I think he made some positioning errors, was oftentimes the target of the dive, maybe disrespecting the engage potential of Astral, playing a lot of similar compositions to what LG has brought to the table here in game 1. So I would like to see that cleaned up, and the Rod of Ages will at least mean that if Isaac finds himself on the wrong end of an engage, he's much more likely to be able to outplay with the extra defensive stats.
We are getting some level 6s in. Huhi able to grab his ultimate. That's always going to be a threat, because now you have this 2-mana jungle support duo who can dive on you in a heartbeat. And with eXyu being accelerated, his Sundered Skies already completed, that is a big threat Luminosity have to worry about.
Seems like Dragon Setup is the name of the game right now, though. And DSG doing such a great job of dictating the river. LG's composition struggles if it's not able to attack from multiple angles. And in fact, eXyu's getting in.
Man. Yeah, eXyu by himself, 1 versus 3. He doesn't care. He likes those odds. He'll take the fight. Zeyzal forced to burn his ultimate. Cataclysm goes down from Tomio, but he has to flash out immediately. Now here comes FakeGod joining the fray alongside Tactical. They're focusing on a Huhi. Insanity jumps in, wants to pick up Rahel, grabs one, doesn't land it onto eXyu, but doesn't need it. We'll get the double kill nonetheless. Following through it, Zeyzal. Headbutt pulverized, finds Castle. Zeyzal critically low, but here comes Tomio to bring the crowd control and send Castle's walls crashing down. Darkwings is all by himself. Another headbutt pulverized, and Luminosity Gaming came to play. Insanity came to slay. LG come out ahead.
Huge fight for LG. It's a 4 for none. They lost nobody. Are you kidding me? As it was eXyu that got the fight started, but he was too far ahead of the team. How do you let LG come from multiple angles if you have all the control as DSG? It's by fighting ahead of the control, and FakeGod, the hero of the day, was first to the play.
Yeah, FakeGod showing up off of that flank was significant in disorienting this attack that came out from DSG. The follow-up as well. Zeyzal, he has a health bar. He's going to use the whole damn health bar, Huck.
I mean, just look at this. Insanity able to come in on the back line, and FakeGod was so early to the fight because he walked down off of his earlier reset. And then Zeyzal, the hero, he flashed in to save FakeGod. They were able to take down Castle, and then Darkwings in this 1 versus 4. I mean, maybe he could pick up 1, but there's just too much CC. I think Zeyzal playing out this fight so well, Insanity playing out this fight so well, but I have to criticize the decision from eXyu to dive ahead of his vision line. You just cannot afford to do that against this skirmish-heavy comp that LG has.
Yeah, one of the things I was bringing up right before that fight was Huhi and eXyu are a deadly duo if they go together, but he took that fight 3 versus 1. Didn't seem like the worst odds until you realize the rest of LG was collapsing onto them. It's giving them a pretty solid lead now at 2.4K.
Crescent Guard is an insane ability, but it's not that insane, you know? It still does only last for a few seconds, but as you say, the real story is just that LG now firmly in control of this game and firmly in control of the topside river with Herald spawning in 40 seconds. You'd have to think that DSG gives this one up. They don't have the completed Roa yet stacked on Darkwings. They only just now got Yuntals on Rahel, but Huhi's found.
Huhi's by himself. He'll get taken down by Tomio. LG have gone hunting in the jungle of DSG, and now they smell something over in the top lane. Darkwings haven't used that laser, but he realized these are shark-infested waters or cow-infested ones, as Zeyzal's gonna tank up that tower. Insanity gets kill number 4.
And when LG takes control of the map, this is when the team is at their best. The goon squad of Tomio, Insanity, and Zeyzal finding 2 easy kills. They're going to get a Herald for their trouble and likely damage on this top lane tier 1.
This is a reoccurring theme. When you give LG an inch, they will take the game. And once they start finding those windows of opportunity, boy, do they seize them. Even though the early game did not go that well, they're finally starting to flip that around with 1 fight, 1 dive, and now a Rift Herald.
And look at the gold difference in mid. Insanity got 3 of the 4 kills in that dragon fight. He picked up another one on the top side of the map just now. After getting bullied in this early game, he has the largest individual gold lead. Nearly half of what LG has is in his pockets. This Akali just off to the races. And all of Darkwing's hard work putting him down for naught.
Insanity's so clutch when he's on this Akali. He has so many Corki champions he can choose from. I always bring up Vigar, but when he goes on some of these assassins, it can be so devastating. He showed that against SDM, and now with a lead very early on, Insanity wants to continue to grow it. Darkwings having no idea what awaits in that brush. Here comes Insanity, hops right onto Darkwings, and those wings, they might get clipped. Zeyzal will snipe it with the redemption.
Cheeky little chaos there, but I think the extra health welcome. And regardless, it's not so much about the support getting the kill, it's about Darkwings missing out on even more. This Viktor now 0-3, and at this point in the game, it's entirely about the scaling for DSG. The mid game is lost. There is no longer a hope of playing that stable game until you hit your items. DSG needs to turtle. They need to get 3 items on Rahel, on Darkwings to let that front to back come alive. But as LG has shown us, they are not going to sit idly and let that happen.
Now, DSG, well, they have experience as a team within the LTA North. It actually kind of pales in comparison to a lot of the experience that you see on LG. LG back-to-back champions, technically for 2023 as well, just their core specifically in FakeGod, Tomio, and Zeyzal, and then back-to-back champions in this year of NACL for both splits. They have that coordination, they have a lot of pre-built synergy, and they use that to basically run this map.
And it is funny too, looking at the history between these two junglers. You know, eXyu, he's been the one with the more successful tier 1 career thus far, but Tomio having actually gotten the better of his opposite number in tier 2 play as Castle. That's huge.
I've said it before, FakeGod kind of struggles with that tier 1 talent diff, and now here comes Tomio diving on in. Crescent Guard going to be used. Tomio wants to bail out. Insanity's still in there, and he goes unstoppable, finding an assassination. He wants to find number 2. The flash comes out. The mark is there. Insanity does not take it, will not gamble at all. Another dive successful for LG.
This is why Insanity is a professional League of Legends player, and I am not. He does have, you know, an 800 gold shutdown.
I'd press the button, Hawk.
Yeah, but like, come on, man. I would take that every time.
I'd give the team a shutdown immediately after.
I know. Like, I feel like it's just for the mental warfare. Like, come on, it's game 1, getting their heads a little Insanity. But ultimately, makes a smart play, just decides 1 kill is enough. The tower and the dragon, likely the sweeter prize. But I will say, Castle picking up that random solo kill on the top side, pretty influential as that was, I think, in a bit of a unforced error. As we can take another look at this fight, just look at the movement here from Insanity. I think great job from Zeyzal peeling Huhi away from as long as possible with the quickness, and as soon as the grand entrance goes wide, Insanity able to dance.
Okay, to be fair, he was super low on energy too, so probably the better.
It's a one-way trip for sure. Like, he's dying if he takes that. It's just like, come on, you know? Like, maybe if he had Q, he would take it so that he could Q Huhi and maybe get that kill too, but I guess to your point, without the energy, like, it's not worth it if he's not getting the double.
Now, Tomio, the same thing that we saw from his last series against SDM was he was watching flash timers very carefully and closely. Darkwings was on a pretty immobile champion, so that's why he committed that Cataclysm right away to lock him up. That's what guaranteed the kill, and that's what makes J4 so effective in the hands of Tomio.
And I will say, we talked about Darkwings potentially disrespecting engages. Now put down to 0-4. LG really has put a target on his back in this mid game, and it has worked wonders for them. And with no dragon to fight for on the bottom side of the map, there's potential for LG to try to finish their quest of opening things up. Now, Otacon is down here, so don't want to give one of those over for free.
Both carries do have their flashes now, so this is not an angle that LG can just force like they have with the last dive that they took. But we've seen Luminosity play around this Otacon rather well. DSG aware of the situation, so trying to get some vision of their own.
See, the problem for Darkwings and Rahel is, yes, their flashes are back, but so are Tomio's and Zeyzal's. And those ones arguably just as important for kind of finding that follow-up after the flash onto DSG. And I mean, we didn't really talk about it. LG does have enough frontline to where Darkwings and Rahel, while they're still weak, they can just frontline as what the...
Oh, a great all-out, all-in, pulls Zeyzal to the opposite side. Zeyzal trying to get over and flash through the wall, but it's a shutdown and an outplay by Castle.
That was goofy looking, but it works. LG, they're still sticking around.
Oh, FakeGod execution finds Rahel. FakeGod is the real one, as he'll get the double kill set up for Insanity. Now teleport in from Castle as he looks to rejoin the fight, but instantly just there to pill off for the rest of his team. Luminosity find 2.
I feel like I could, you know, riff on Rahel getting caught shopping, this and that, but honestly, I'm just gonna say that's an outplay from FakeGod right there. Public execution onto the basic Zeri. I would not have expected there to be all the members of LG sticking around in that bush, especially when they just killed their support. And that's gonna net an Otacon. I honestly, LG sort of taking a near mistake, but they had so much control anyway that it only just becomes that near mistake. They turn it around, and now they have found what might just be the game-winning advantage with the Thornbound Otacon at 22 minutes.
I can feel the sweat on the brow of Toast already as we take another look at that public execution. Beautifully placed, Hawk.
Okay, credit to Rahel. He actually reacted. I don't know if you saw, he tried to E out of the way. It was just a little too late, so he still got caught on the edge of it. Yeah. And then Castle, you know, he tries to TP in to salvage it, but no ultimate, and not that tanky, honestly, at this point. He kind of got shredded right there by FakeGod and Tactical.
So a very nice start for Luminosity as we head into the 22-minute mark. 4.6K in the lead. You know, we're only to grab one grub. They lost out on a Drake early, but after that, it's been all LG. They got the Otacon, they got the next 2 Drakes, and we got a Dragon spawning in 50 seconds.
And we're still so far away from getting to that point where DSG can reasonably fight. Again, the front line of LG, while not as good as DSG's, like, this is a yet to complete Leandri's Viktor and a Zeri sitting on pea shooter items. So it's not like DSG really has the damage to chew through what Luminosity has brought to the table. And again, I think really the only thing that LG needs to continue doing is opening up the map. I would like to see them make a move to take down this last outer turret in the top lane. It doesn't seem like that's that high on their priority list right now with Dragon spawning in just a few seconds.
This is a tough scenario, really, for DSG. Taking a look again, I mean, the benefit is they still have those flashes available, but they're not exactly in a position to really fight out for this Dragon. You had mentioned it, no Leandri's completed or Darkwings. He went that scaling route on top of it, and it's not paying off. He died 4 times. Insanity has a massive lead against him, almost 3K separating these mid laners, so DSG have no choice but to concede this.
And what we just saw is one of the things that made LG by far the most successful team in the NACL for this year, which is they play around vision better than, honestly, a lot of LTA teams. Their understanding of how to push vision lines forward and how to threaten certain angles, they just push DSG out of their own jungle so that there's not even a chance of a fight or a steal. And now, redeploying onto the top side of the map, they're going to do the exact same thing, slowly advancing forward as a unit. They're going to clear out all of these wards that Huhi just put down.
Vision control now established on the side of Luminosity Gaming. There's 30 seconds before Baron comes up, so something to dance around, especially when you have a lead that's grown this quickly on LG's side. I'm going to keep pointing my finger over to Insanity because he's the big playmaker. Well, not the playmaker, but the play follow-up. He's the play executor. You know, he's going to get into the backline. He's going to look to take down Rahel and Darkwings, and here we go with the dive, looking to try and get flashes out off of Darkwings. Darkwings bides his time, gets out of the Cataclysm, a lot of damage onto Zeyzal, and the engage not going to be successful for LG.
Yeah, I think a little bit opportunistic right there from LG, just getting a bit too far ahead of the team. At the end of the day, it really just is a couple of ults traded back and forth, but I think DSG is going to be pretty happy with the health bar advantage they did find. It's going to let them find some control back here.
Yeah, the main idea of Tomio going for that was literally for Darkwing's flash. He wanted to pressure him enough to get that burnt out. It wasn't necessarily the kill, because if you're able to get that, it makes it so much more difficult for DSG to actually challenge for a Baron if LG, excuse me, want to push for that in specific. But it is a little bit catastrophic. Catastrophic, maybe not the right word, but it does bite them in the backside just a touch with Tomio having to burn his to get out of there.
Yeah, it does just force LG to reset the sequence, so they're going to walk back in, they're going to clear out all these wards. I think we're basically going to see the exact same thing where DSG attempts to defend their own jungle, and LG attempts to try to find and engage off of that. I like this adaptation better, though, sending Insanity onto the top wave. It looks like they're going to play more for this tier 1 than the Baron itself, which to me just feels like a more surefire play. I don't think LG is under pressure to need to force a, pre-30-minute Baron.
Still dancing around that area, though. Fortunately for DSG, there is some catch-up now being played. Darkwing's still behind. He did finish that Leandri's, so we got 2 items onto this Viktor, fully stacked Rod of Ages on top of it. There's a lot of AoE damage that you get from a Viktor, so if these fights happen in the jungle and in these choke points, Darkwings can bring in that DPS.
It's an ARAM right now, by the way, Eric, as we're just watching these two teams stare each other down. I mean, again, for LG, they're under no pressure right now. They have their soul spawning in sub 2 minutes, so if nothing happens, they could go Tomio.
Ooh, Insanity's looking for the angle. Darkwings, he knows someone's over there. Cataclysm goes out, it locks up eXyu, and nothing else. Holding their ground is DSG.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Lawrence and Castle, I really like the balls, especially for eXyu. Didn't even blow the Crescent Guard, understanding that it's all just a ruse from LG. They were trying to bait a reaction out of DSG, but they can't just dive in face first. Remember, DSG's comp, they still excel at that front to back, the ability to create space for themselves. LG, they're gonna have to be a little bit more creative than that.
And I really like the heads up that came from Darkwings. If you saw it on the backside, he did use a laser and hit Insanity without vision. So pretty spot on right there to know that the flank was coming, and really playing defensively as DSG, but it's stopping a lot of what LG want to do.
Ooh, Tactical is level 16, by the way. When did that happen? This guy, he's got 3k HP, 3 completed items. This Corki is a monster right now in Summoner's Rift. Yeah, with Dragon spawning at 45, I did not even realize how huge Tactical was right now. Oh my.
I mean, 3 items completed. Rahel still trying to work towards that point, but it's a Shojin, Miramana, as well as a Trinity Force. And him being up there far ahead, especially having that, okay, didn't need the
That's big.
Especially Tactical having the Shojin means that you're going to get a lot of those missiles. It's level 2, level 3 ultimate on top of that, so he can bring in a lot of poke damage, man.
Gets the Celestial off of Huhi. It's big, though, that Rahel hit 3 items. DSG, they have a chance in this fight for sure. But again, the vision lines from LG advance so far forward. And Insanity lurking on another flank gets spotted by a control ward now. So DSG knows what the ruse is here for LG. They're going to try to get the mid-wave in and enter into the river as 5.
Gonna be tough right now, Dragon. This is Dragon's soul. If LG are able to grab it, they know Insanity is in that area. Darkwings will poke him out once more, but not much damage. Tactical able to back off. Castle is caught out for a brief second, falls to about half health. eXyu, he's stolen these in the past. He wants to steal another. Going forward is LG. And up right onto the back line. Tactical in the 1v1 versus Castle, but the first shutdown is going to be found. It's Insanity who gets collapsed on. Flashing away is Castle. Tactical won't get the kill. 2 lost by LG. It only cost them Rahel, and they get to stop the Dragon Soul from LG.
They say it's a miracle from DSG as LG was able to find the engage out of the enemy AD carry, but they didn't find the one shot, and DSG, they are still alive in this game.
And this was a bit of hubris. Tactical was completely split off from the rest of the crew, trying to focus onto Castle. That's 1 carry down. That means Insanity is diving without much damage to really back him up, and the collapse that came through, Huhi able to funnel a lot of that crowd control right onto LG, gives DSG a fighting chance back into this.
I mean, I need to see a replay of that fight because it was a perfect engage from LG onto the strongest member of DSG, and yet after Rahel got down to like 5% HP, he was still able to live in fire for 2, maybe 3 more seconds. And I just have no idea how a last hit didn't come down from LG, whether it was great peeling from DSG or missed target selection. That one is going to haunt Luminosity as their lead has now been drastically cut into, and his 3rd item spike on Darkwings. The scaling has arrived.
And Darkwings now online, and DSG can start to fight back. Rahel, even though his flash is down, he can still hop right over that terrain made by Tomio's Cataclysm. Now Castle positioning forward.
Pretty deep.
Maybe going a little bit too far forward right here. He's all by his lonesome, and Tactical loves to shred those defensive
Insanity
steps. Coming in with the public execution. 1 kill found. They're looking for another on eXyu. It's a double kill for Tactical, and as quickly as DSG fought something back, LG get the counteroffensive.
And Insanity barely manages to live on the opposite side, made a bit of a positioning error, but gets away with it as Castle, he made a bigger positioning error. This Ksante is just not that tanky. Tactical is prying this guy open, especially with the help of FakeGod's Black Cleaver. And now with Jungler down, Baron likely to be secured.
Luminosity Gaming, a great fight out of them, but a bigger hiccup out of Castle. That was very questionable. He was so far ahead by himself, Hawk. And as you said, Black Cleaver's one thing, Gatling Gun is the other that shreds that armor. Even if you do have that completed Thorn Mail, you will not last that long against that duo.
And I gotta say, both the team fights that LG has won in the series so far, Decerux, have been off of just hubris from DSG stepping forward. We are gonna get a look at the other fight. So again, take a look at Rahel. It's a perfect find from Tomio and the rest of LG as they understand it's do or die. We have to go through the barrier, but it's the gravity well and the four-man knockup from Huhi. That's the spell that saved the fight. And as you rightfully called out, in the 1v1, tactical against Castle, Castle is able to zone away that big damage dealer for DSG. This is that mispositioning that I talked about from Insanity, almost going down, does lose his flash. Darkwings barely, just didn't have the extra inch on the laser. Unfortunately, Castle just not so lucky, and eXyu pays the price for his top laner sins.
I mean, it was smart from Insanity's side, because even though he got caught out, hey, he didn't die, and it was enough to pull apart DSG. Seemed like that was
tactical!
Now the ultimate can be used on tactical. He's by himself! A big slip up from Luminosity. Tomio looking to bail, but Rahel will shoot him in the back of the head. 2 down for Luminosity, and this is a slugfest.
That's the Baron push now, just completely denied. LG going to get nothing for the win that they just found as tactical. That is an inexcusable error. I mean, Huhi, he just did the, wait, this guy's inting engage. And I mean, he's right. That was not good from the AD carry of LG, and a great punish to come through from DSG. That was 2 shutdowns getting picked up by the Zeri. It's gonna be 4th item LDR now for Rahel.
You got to kill Rahel fast if you're Luminosity now, but one of the hard things about that, you commit all your dive onto him, gravity well goes down, and you still have Huhi, like we saw in that dragon fight from before. 45 seconds before we get the Ocean Drake on the table. DSG would love to take this and stop the Soul from going to LG.
I'm gonna be honest though, I feel like outside of a mistake from DSG, I actually think they're favored at this point in the game. Rahel is so strong in Darkwings, level 17, now with a Seeker's Arm Guard in inventory. All summoners up and available for both these carries as well. A lot of critical tools not going to be available for LG at this fight. I think DSG, they've weathered the storm. LG, they have blundered the advantage.
A lot of this is protect Rahel. If Rahel's able to stay alive, it really does bode well for this squad because the DPS he brings is massive on a 4-item Zeri. Dragon is now up. Luminosity will draw those battle lines. You can see the poke coming in from Darkwings as he keeps landing the laser. Return from Tactical, who's looking to land his missiles. 10k health remains on the Dragon.
It's the exact same setup. FakeGod on the mid side of the map, and Insanity going to come from below. I've seen this before.
Poke from Darkwings. FakeGod still looking for the flank. 2 angles to attack from Luminosity.
Rahel's a good position.
5k
He's
health
so
remains.
far away from any of the divers.
Dragon gets reset. Zeyzal having a hard time getting in. Zeyzal still has his flash, so he can get a combo on Rahel if he does find it. Who's going to score this? This is Dragon Soul right now. eXyu needs to find it. The flip is going to come through. It's secure. Dragon Soul belongs over to Luminosity. Now getting knocked up is Tomio. Still looking for the back, and look at Rahel go. He's the focus of this one. Public execution destroys Rahel. Now Castle, the next one in the crosshairs. He will fight for his life, but his life is forfeit to FakeGod as Luminosity will take 2. It cost them Insanity. They get the Dragon Soul.
eXyu may have gotten the first Dragon flip of the game, but it's Tomio that finds the more important one. Soul secured as, I'm going to be honest, that was a Jesus take the wheel call for LG right there. And you know what? The big man upstairs answered.
You know, it's not the most effective Dragon Soul, but it still is going to be useful for stopping a lot of this poke damage from Darkwings. Excellent fight coming out from Luminosity because you know how heavily it was needed that they take down Rahel to be able to win these. They focus him down. FakeGod, beautiful with that public execution. And now Tomio has the Guardian Angel, meaning these dives can get a little bit more risky.
Rahel dying with flash up. I think that's a fight that he really wants back. it's just bad to worse. Not only does DSG lose the objective, but they can't win the fight. And that's the sort of buff that can really help equalize the scaling between these teams. You know, I've talked about it being in favor of DSG this whole game, but it's not like LG doesn't have it on their side. You already mentioned the scaling Corki possibilities for tactical. Ambessa also so strong in these later stages. The Otacon as well. For every kill going over, it's going to mean that much more for LG with 42 flowers getting claimed. It's the little things that really do help equalize the differential. And honestly, everything, I think, just coming down to execution. And I mean, LG, maybe it's just because they have two ultimates named execution, but they found it in the last fight.
At this point, Riot, if you're hearing me, open up more guest slots, man. I would like to see both of these teams in the LTA because they are bringing it here in this game number 1. Luminosity, 4K in the lead, Dragon Soul in their hand.
Spotted on this flank.
Starting to dance over to where this Baron is. Insanity constantly looking for these flanks. DSG have been really good at spotting them out, though.
Huhi in general is having a great game. I think he's done a fantastic job of marking flanks and peeling for his carries. Really can't ask much more from your Rakan, especially when, I mean, certain members are diving forward in ill-fated ways. Not much you can do about that. So, DSG, I do say that they are very split right now. Tomio going to try to part the Red Seas.
You got to be careful. If they do overcommit right here, Rahel's still in a good spot. So they choose not to go for the engage just yet. Insanity's by himself. Huhi does have his flash, so Insanity needs to make more distance, doesn't want to be caught out of position. The fight for vision continues.
We are right back to the NA RAM. I mean, LG not playing around side lanes at all. They are purely fiending for those vision pockets, trying to get a flank here or there, but I mean, DSG, they didn't make the LTA for no reason or play a whole LTA season and go 5 games with Cloud9 for no reason. They understand how to protect their flanks. eXyu, though, he's very far out of the team again. Yeah,
they're getting out the Crescent Guard. LG, they would like to disengage on this one, but DSG say no. They'll get the Guardian Angel popped out of Tomio. It cost them the Crescent Guard and half the health of their jungler, but most importantly, it stopped the Baron.
Honestly, a bit surprised that Tomio didn't pull the trigger with the Cataclysm onto eXyu right there, but maybe the call was that Zeyzal and FakeGod were just a little too far away to be able to support, and getting a Guardian Angel for nothing, that's pretty big for DSG.
See now, DSG are taking the momentum they just gathered, a little bit of tempo to their side. They will get vision deep into the jungle of Luminosity Gaming, placing some wards and denying some of it out from Luminosity. It's a very tense game, Hawk.
I mean, this game's been tense for, it feels like 15 minutes ever since DSG really brought things back. We're 40 minutes in to this first game. I agree with you, man. This has been a really entertaining game so far. And if this is an omen for what's to come, I think our expectation of 2 evenly matched teams was absolutely accurate.
More Guardian Angels now being purchased. FakeGod can take the risky route with his public execution, has his GA down. Rahel as well, going to have a Guardian Angel alongside eXyu. More Guardian Angels on the side of DSG. Gives them more second chances to bring it back to LG.
Elder Dragon spawning in a mid of 15. Tomio's still not going to have that tool available. Insanity has found himself an impressive flank, and I don't think DSG knows. I think this one is unspotted. Question is, when does LG decide to go?
Huhi. Here they go, looking for Huhi. It's going to be a tough one because he's too close to the rest of his teammates over by DSG.
That's a lot of damage.
That's a nice missile coming out from Tactical. That's that poke damage that you get out from the Corki with that Shojin. Especially when you land the big one. Does mean for a lot to chip away the health bars of DSG.
And with how explosive these two team comps are, I really do favor the Elder over the Baron if these objectives were to be traded. So DSG really wants to find a way to fight their way back into the bottom side of the map, but LG, they understand this, and Tomio, Zeyzal, they're drawing a line.
Baron being started up. Tomio
trying to go before the Elder spawns.
Positioning forward. Rushing down onto this. 11k health remains. Vision now established for Luminosity. Insanity looking to get closer. Out comes the Cataclysm. Tomio, remember, he doesn't have that much. All out goes out. Tomio's gonna fall. Rahel still up, grabs the kill, knocking around FakeGod. FakeGod's Guardian Angel popped. Insanity is in there, but he's not getting the kills. Zeyzal will die forward, but he's got no damage to help him out. eXyu flashes out. DSG, they get kill after after kill unanswered, and they will send LG running.
But it's LG with the Ocean Soul, and DSG, they don't have the health bars. eXyu, I think, lucky to be alive right now as the perfect execution barely went wide from Insanity. Now we get TPs back. It's going to be a 3v5 for the next 30 seconds. LG, they have to defend.
Elder is up. 20 seconds before Tomio hits the map. 20 seconds before Zeyzal hits the map. 2 down is Luminosity Gaming, and Elder is right on the table. Both summoners down for Rahel, but there's not much of a chance to actually dive back through this powerhouse of crowd control for DSG, and they'll be rewarded with the Elder.
Wow, DSG, they now have the buff that could potentially end this game. They're going to get a Baron most certainly as well. Double super buffs, 43 minutes into this game. That might just be what they need to wrap things up, but honestly, I don't even know if they can end with these objectives. There's still so many turrets. It's really been LG dictating the pace on the map throughout the course of this game, so you'd have to think we have at least one more team fight in store, and I doubt LG is going to give it to him as long as the Elder's on.
It's all about biding your time, waiting for that Elder to wear off. There's still 2 minutes left on that buff. You don't want to fight around that, because what is Rahel going to do? Tear your team asunder. Infinity Edge now completed for Tactical. You'll also grab the... oh my god, I forgot the name of it. What's the long-range one? Help me out here.
The fire cannon.
Rapid fire cannon. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I got you. I wasn't sure which item you were talking about either. So, DSG though, they're doing what they should. I mean, screw side lanes, right? We have both super buffs. Just force. LG either has to defend or die.
Yeah, they're going to concede the mid lane quite easily here. It's still that challenge. Like, you don't want to fight against the Elder. You absolutely do not. Unless you can get Rahel in the blink of an eye, it's not the position you want in this game. And you can see right there, the executions are just waiting to go through. Zeyzal stepping up to try and defend. Baron up, cannon creep that they need to take out. That's wailing away onto that tower, leading in another Baron wave. 45 seconds before Elder expires.
I think there's one more wave after this one where DSG will have the Elder. Now only one Nexus tower. They're going to go.
The knockup finds Rahel, but instantly Zeyzal peels right off. Still 30 seconds on that Elder buff.
They got one of the cannons.
Down a Nexus tower, and the cannon creep fell.
There's still a second one, and a third one will arrive. And remember, the Baron's going to last longer than the Elder, but LG can fight. And I like this from Tomio. He's trying to cut the wave, but here's a fight at the Nexus.
No, the Nexus tower is down. DSG, they weathered the storm, and they will take down Luminosity in game number 1.
What a game! 45 minutes nearly on the clock, and it is Disguise that survive it. Only game 1, by the way. Hey, you gotta win 2 more of those to go on to the finals.
Are they all gonna be 40+ minute bangers, man? I think we're in for a long day, Hawk. I mean, that was back and forth. Both of these teams really bringing in it. Insanity constantly trying for those flank angles. Had a hard time getting in because DSG were scouting him out time and time again. Protect Rahel, let him do damage, and doing damage is what he's damn good at. Ultimately, DSG coming out ahead.
And I gotta say, I mean, credit to Disguise for how they stood tall in that game and stuck to their guns, what their composition does best. But I think that is absolutely a game that LG wants back. They had the chance to end the game not once, but after DSG threw it back to them, they threw again with the Baron push. And I think squandering not 1 but 2 chances is a really tough look for Luminosity to start this series off. And I mean, that's definitely one that could bite you in the backside if we do talk about going to 5 games.
I mean, it was really about weathering that storm and allowing for some of the scaling to come online. I mentioned Rahel, but Darkwings was also a big part of that on top of it. He kept spotting out where Insanity was and getting some poke damage in. And even with that Dragon Soul, again, it wasn't the most effective soul. It's only stopping the poke mainly of Darkwings. Everything else is looking to slug you down. I think eXyu was also fantastic in that one. You know, not sweating some of these like kind of pump engages that LG were looking to throw his way, even getting out
out Tomio's Guardian Angel for free in one of those fights. It was an excellent performance coming out from DSG. And off of that note, we're going to throw it over to short break. When we return, we'll get ready for game number 2.